Marvel Studios unveiling its plans for Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 10 movies and Disney Plus shows that will launch between May 2020 and November 2021. Notably, the 2 movies that will follow next year's Black Widow are The Eternals and Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. 2021 will also have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as well as Thor, Love and Thunder. Art, yay or nay, Phase 4 could be the best phase of the MCU yet?
You know, what's funny is that I can already speak for Fernando on this because we had a whole conversation. This segment right here, this little yay or nay, could be its own little video. We talked about this.
I know. Right? There's a lot of news for us to talk
Practically called. So if this does become its own little segment, just know, one, welcome to the Intercut podcast. Watch our other videos over here. But this is the secret to Phase 4. Fernando and I had a whole conversation about this. Yes, it does have the possibility. We know Infinity Saga has ended. Big thumbs up for us over here because looking at not only what they revealed, it's been that patient building for us to finally get this martial arts movie that we're about to get. For us to, when Black Panther 2, Spider-Man 3, and oh, by the way, we got the mutants are the last thing said, that's insane to me. But there was a cool little secret that it's not even a secret, it's a pattern that we've been noticing. No one knew James Gunn, unless you were really big in the horror scene. Really, it turns out after the debacle last year, no one knew James Gunn at all. Yeah. But look at what he's created, right? Look at a bunch of... I would even argue with Jon Favreau, When we were watching The Lion King and I had said a guy was so astounded that was him. Mm-hmm. Jon Favreau created Iron Man and elevated that to a degree. Joss Whedon went from becoming a cult favorite in his shows to handling Avengers 1 and 2. And what we ended up seeing in 3 and 4 were remnants of him. Cutting off Avengers, not allowing him to say assemble so it could be said later. Fernando, bring me up with the links here. Who do we got directing some of these upcoming movies?
All right, so for Black Widow, which is the one that's set to come out first next year.
It's the one that's already in production right now.
That's already in production. They showed a little teaser promo thing at Comic-Con. We have Kate Shortland that directed Berlin Syndrome, this small indie film that's on Netflix. I know Art wasn't crazy about it. You told me that you weren't crazy about it.
But it was a
I thought it was
selection.
fine too. But that's
read
just
me the cast. No, read me the cast, boy.
Oh, the cast? Okay, the cast. So obviously we have Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow again. Her weird tree stuff aside. We have Stranger Things, David Harbour.
Which people went crazy. Yes. I take back everything I've said about Stranger Things. The fandom, besides faking being in relationships, David Harbour has become... He's having a renaissance right now.
Yeah.
But there's one particular person I'm excited for. So name her last. Name the more veteran first.
Your girl.
Veteran? Okay, so Rachel Weisz, Academy Award winner.
Incredible.
Yeah.
They hit me with it. This next person had Alina checking to see if she could purchase tickets already.
And then we have she has a recent movie out, Florence Pugh from Midsommar.
My
goodness. It's flow time.
Fighting with My Family.
Crazy. This is insane.
She's phenomenal.
Bro, she's on the Marvel train already. I'm happy for her. This is exciting. This movie, imagine having your first female-centric movie be cool.
Yeah.
Imagine it being the best out of the... How many movies we got? That's to me a statement. And I feel like only someone with the attention to detail like Kevin Feige can do something like this. I don't know if you want to add anything more to this movie before we talk about some of the other ones.
Not really. It's going to be interesting because they said that this movie takes place... This is kind of like a prequel-ish. I feel like...
Budapest, I heard a lot of people
say.
Some
parts are going to take place maybe in the future, but they're saying it takes place after Civil War. So that's when it takes place.
Wow. That's intriguing to me because they've had this idea in the books for a bit.
Mm-hmm. And also from the footage they showed, only at Comic-Con, they said it starts with the text Budapest, which obviously has been hinted a lot throughout the series. So it's going to be
between
interesting.
her and Hawkeye.
Yep.
Pick this next one over here because I got one that's really exciting.
All right. The next one I believe after that is Eternals, which is actually my most anticipated. I'm going to read off the cast first because it's...
Well, I mean, you got Kumail Nanjiani. You got Angelina Jolie. You got Paperboy, Brian Tyree Henry.
I mean, we have
you got Richard Madden.
The best looking one in Games of Thrones, first of all right? Hasn't looked the
Rob Stark himself.
Dude, so first of all, really quick thing for Angelina Jolie, she was actually supposed to be playing Jessica Chastain's character in the X-Men movie. That didn't happen.
Was she really?
Yeah, also didn't happen for Jessica Chastain. I have very interesting notes for that, but yeah, because a lot of people said, it feels like she has another role for Marvel, and so she's refusing to do something for Fox. Turns out she did, and it's this big bad boy of a role that's supposed to be this overly encompassing thing. Have you guys seen the details that the artwork that leaked for this? Thanos is supposed to be in this. It's very interesting style, but it's also that idea that we're dealing with prequels, almost like relishing in this lore of these 10 years that we created, where we can go back and be like, y'all want to know what Thanos was doing during this time in his teen years? They're showing teen Thanos before he even knew he wanted to destroy half the world. The director.
The director is Chloe Zhao. She's from China. And she's made 2 movies that in total have made $3 million at the box office.
Those movies being?
One was a Sundance movie called Songs My Brother Taught Me. And then the other one came out 2 years ago.
Critically acclaimed hit?
The Rider.
Part of the Horse Cinematic Universe. Yeah. Along with the Mustang and the Pete one. This is incredible to me. And this is where, Zach, I want you and I to have this discussion right here. A lot of the discourse around this has been like, oh, all these movies coming out. I've seen tweets from verified critics from big websites going, oh, this is not why I got into the industry. Now, Zach, did you see The Rider?
Actually, I haven't. I've heard great things about it.
So, say a movie like The Rider, an independent movie,
how about, let's go with a great independent movie like Short Term 12. Just to pick one out of her hat.
If those directors were to be doing a superhero, a big blockbuster, would you not be happy for them? Would you not even be happier that once the movie comes out, it turns out, wow, they really let them do their style?
Yeah, I would be thrilled, especially considering the new budgets that would probably be available to these indie filmmakers who otherwise might be like struggling to earn a living the way that your boy Charlie Kaufman has talked about.
He says, I don't got money. So, as a critic, I'm sorry. These filmmakers need to eat, and you'd rather them be playing their movies in one theater because that's... Yeah. I'm trying to see where the merit is here. If they can come in and make this big blockbuster and then go do all these crazy dope projects, why would you not want that? They could easily be going for the most boring directors possible. And they got the director of The Rider. Yeah. You got Mahershala Ali coming back. I know the joke's been original Blade. Our boy Wesley can't come back because if he couldn't handle the checks for the first 3, he ain't gonna check out that MCU check when he comes back. I'm excited for all of these. I'm excited for the TV shows. I think it's going to be able to open, a bigger world. And of course, the second half of this conversation goes with our Lion King talk and known properties and how they can generate buzz. But
well, I want to ask you actually something a little bit about the known properties. Because we brought up Blade and Captain Marvel 2 and Black Panther 2 and X-Men have all been hinted at as part of the future of Marvel. But Kevin Feige was clear to say those are not Phase 4 movies. Blade is going to be Phase 5. So when we're just talking about Phase 4, there is a little bit of a lack of familiar properties. Yes, we are getting the return of Thor, but I don't know if Doctor Strange necessarily carries the same kind of weight as some of the other ones. Do you feel like that's potentially something that could lead to some pushback?
You don't think that's cool?
I think that's really
that's
cool.
Insane. I think that's this is a big organization. They're like, we're just going to have no Avengers movies. We killed the main character. The other one grew old. That's some balls, dude.
Yeah,
it could end up terribly.
And to do it with a bunch of interesting newer directors potentially opens the door to some more experimentation. I know that at the San Diego Comic-Con, Scott Derrickson, the Doctor Strange director, is a horror director.
Yes, name some of the
was
stuff that
talking
he's
about
done.
how he
Sinister.
wants.
What else has he done?
Off the top of my head, I'm having trouble, but
I think they're bringing the same writer again who did Sinister 1 and 2. I'm blanking out.
Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister 2, Hellraiser.
All these horror movies. Then he did Doctor Strange for the sequel to them be, first of all, what's the name of this movie? Because it is the most...
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
It sounds so goofy. It's so dope. And now you're telling me it's going to be a horror movie. Makes me question what's happening in New Mutants. I don't know. But a full-out horror movie, I am intrigued. What was the second one you had mentioned?
Shang-Chi.
Not Shang-Chi, the other one.
Thor, Love and Thunder?
What do you guys think about the big reveal? Because it's a twofer here. It's not just the news of like, wow, female Thor based off of the comic series, very beloved. Taika's coming back. There's Akira being paused. But there's also Natalie Portman. I thought you hated being here.
Right? I mean, this definitely explains a little more why she was willing to do that cameo in Endgame.
Yep.
But, yeah, look... there was a take on Twitter that I saw that I thought was unfair, saying how look at her gritting her teeth, thinking about how this is going to pay for like 20 art films, which I think that's a little bit unfair to read into.
Sure, but if
those
it
pictures.
isn't that dope?
But yeah, if it does mean that she gets to continue making the types of movies she's been making, that's awesome.
Yo,
what I think is cool. What I don't even want to get too distracted though. This is Natalie Portman in a Taika Waititi movie.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten comedic Natalie in some places, but not for a little while.
And
I mean, I guess maybe Vox
Taika.
Lux a little bit, but yeah, and I think she could be a really great match for Taika.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited
for
about that.
And for the indie fans out there, y'all don't know how your movies get funded. So that's a whole nother discussion that needs to be had on how there's usually 10 movies. You have your big blockbusters and how those end up paying for the ones that you claim you want to be big but never make any money. So if Natalie Portman can take that to the bank, let's go. If the cast of Big Little Lies we just talked about that can go produce more things, let's go. If Taika can be making more Jojo Rabbits, let's go. I'm excited for everything announced.
Did any of the Disney Plus announcements stand out to you?
Absolutely none of them. Except the What If.
Okay.
Dude, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I almost feel like that feels like the Thor DVD specials. Do you remember those where you had the roommate?
It feels a little bit like
I don't know
Disney
yet.
Plus
We'll
is
see.
getting Disney Plus is getting all the properties that aren't good enough to
And
go
they
to
know
the
it. Yeah, they
theater,
want to
maybe.
test it first. But the What If is kind of interesting because I've always liked the What If one-shots. For those of you who don't know, it's just like a scenario. It's like, what if the X-Men didn't exist? What if so-and-so died? What if Thor won, or Thanos won? I don't know what they're going to be doing with it, but I think it's really interesting. There is one that stood out to me. Two. One bad. Loki. What is that logo? And I'm also
Bro,
not
you
a
don't
fan.
get it?
Shut up.
He's
I don't
like a
want to get it.
shapeshifter. The letters are all different.
Oh, well, now that you said that, it's even worse. The whole idea of, like, Loki traveling in an alternate dimension that is not... It's like, what? Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Hawkeye, I don't know if y'all ever read that run. When I saw the logo, as a comic book fan, I know that's the logo from the Hawkeye run that blew up. I can't remember the writer because I get Fraction, and if it's not Fraction, then it's the other guy, Chip. Someone will correct me. That storyline was in the midst of the Jeremy Renner one, and they were like, oh, whatever we're trying to do with Jeremy Renner, it's not going to be... Like, sometimes the comics come out, right? Even, what's her name for Into the Spider-Verse? Amy Pascal was like, we were trying to fix Spider-Man, we didn't know what to do. And then Into the Spider-Verse comic series came out, and it gave her this idea of something she's planning. I'm very intrigued for what they're going to do with this, because it's like... Jeremy Renner may have the best Disney Plus series if they keep it in line with the comics. My last thing is, should Blade be R?
They're not going to do it.
I mean, that's the thing. My one hesitation at the whole idea of the Scott Derrickson saying that Doctor Strange is going to be, a horror movie is that Kevin Feige was clear to say it's still going to be PG-13. And Marvel is guilty of director bullshit. Like we
saw a little bit in Black Panther.
They have all these movies that come out, and the directors will say, we were highly inspired by 3 Days of the Concord, and it'll be a Marvel movie. And then the new Marvel movie will come out and be like, oh, this is like Ordinary People, but with superheroes. And then it's a Marvel movie. Like, there's just so much director bullshit that I need to actually see the product before I believe it. But it's exciting nonetheless. Hopefully, we'll get some good stuff from interesting filmmakers as we get into the next phase of Marvel movies.
At least put them on the radar.